They never wanted you to know this. Not your teachers, not your job, not even most of the books you've read. Because once you learn how to unlock the power hidden inside your own mind, inside your own biology, you become unstoppable. What you're about to discover has been protected for centuries, quietly passed through sacred masonry degrees, hidden in plain sight. This isn't just about symbols or secret handshakes. It's about the forgotten science of soul, how DMT, your pineal gland, and ancient spiritual activation practices work together to wake you up from hypnosis of modern life. And no, this isn't something you'll find in mainstream media or your everyday social feed. This is knowledge most people never even scratch. If you believe knowledge should be free, raw, and real, then you're in the right place. Consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss the kind of truths that shift paradigms, not just perspectives. We're building a community here of seekers, thinkers, and those who feel like there's more to this life than just working, paying bills, and scrolling. There's a door inside you that nobody talks about. It's not made of wood or metal, and no key from the outside will ever open it. The truth is, that door is your pineal gland, the third eye that ancient traditions and even 33rd degree masonry quietly revere. It's the inner gateway to clarity, intuition, and deep spiritual awareness. But no one's handing out the blueprint, unless you start looking within. People spend years chasing knowledge in books and systems, but ignore the most powerful tool sitting right between their eyebrows. That tiny gland, when nurtured and awakened, reveals more than any college lecture or trending podcast. Daily sun exposure, mindful breathing, and even grounding your feet to the earth can begin this spiritual activation. It's simple, yet few actually do it, because truth requires courage. Think of meditation not as sitting still, but as tuning into a broadcast your body was designed to receive. Practicing silence each morning, especially during sunrise, triggers the awakening of the third eye. In ancient practices, and yes, in certain masonry degrees too, it's the foundation of enlightenment. And once you get a glimpse of that inner light, well, let's just say your understanding of DMT and the unseen world will never be the same. DMT isn't just a chemical. It's the most mysterious bridge between the physical and the spiritual. Hidden in plain sight, this spirit molecule is naturally produced by your own brain, specifically by the pineal gland. It's no coincidence that masonry teachings hint at this connection during high initiations. When released, DMT doesn't just alter perception, it unlocks a completely different reality. Imagine having a conversation with your higher self, your ancestors, or even the universe itself, all without leaving your room. That's the kind of experience many describe after deep spiritual activation practices that stimulate DMT. Ancient cultures knew this long before labs did. Through breath work, sacred chants, and fasting rituals, they activated divine visions without needing synthetic shortcuts. It's wild how something so powerful is produced inside of us, yet modern society barely acknowledges it. Instead of fearing it or labeling it as taboo, what if we learned to work with it consciously? Masonry symbolism, shamanic traditions, and yoga disciplines all point toward the same truth. DMT is not just biochemical. It's spiritual technology encoded in the human design. And the more you understand it, the more you begin to see how numbers themselves carry energy. Numbers aren't just math, they're energy signatures. Every number vibrates, speaks, and guides, even if most people never stop to listen. In spiritual traditions, and yes, even within masonry, numbers are like cosmic fingerprints. And among them all, the number 33 stand apart. It whispers of enlightenment, sacrifice, and divine mastery. You ever notice how 33 keeps showing up in strange places? Jesus was 33 when he died. There are 33 vertebrae in the human spine, the very channel used in Kundalini practices for spiritual ascension. That's no coincidence. It's a divine pattern coded into our very biology, a signpost of those on a path of spiritual activation. And those who pay attention, they begin to see life differently. Think of it this way. If numbers are the language of the universe, then 33 is the exclamation point. It carries the energy of balance between material life and spiritual truth. Even in masonry, reaching the 33rd degree isn't just a title. It symbolizes someone who's aligned with higher truths. And that's just scratching the surface. because symbols, when decoded, reveal far more than numbers alone. The number 33 is not just a number. It's a symbol, a mirror, a map. In ancient teachings from Hermetic texts to Rosicrucian scrolls, 33 is revered as the pinnacle of spiritual knowledge. Even in Masonry, the 33rd degree isn't just earned, it's lived. It represents someone who's transcended ego and started walking the path of the soul, fully aware of both earthly responsibilities and divine purpose. What makes 33 so mystical? It's the bridge, the line that connects two worlds, the seen and the unseen, the physical and the spiritual. To walk the path of 33 is to understand sacrifice without suffering, action without attachment. It's about recognizing that true power isn't domination, it's inner mastery. And those who embody it often speak little, but carry immense presence. When someone starts seeing the number 33 repeatedly, it's not superstition, it's a calling. The universe speaks in patterns, and those patterns aren't random. They're spiritual nudges, urging you to tune in. Masonry and other esoteric paths use this symbol to remind initiates that their mission isn't to escape life, but to elevate it. And one of the tools they use? Intentional practices that tune the mind into divine frequency. Activating the spirit isn't a mystical event reserved for monks. It's a practice, a rhythm, a choice. One of the most underrated tools? Meditating while visualizing the number 33. Sounds simple, but there's something about anchoring your focus on that frequency that starts rewiring your awareness. It's a quiet ritual, yet the results ripple into every part of your day. Mantras, too, aren't just sounds, they're codes. Repeating a phrase like, I align with the divine purpose of 33, isn't about magic words. It's about aligning your vibration. When done consistently, especially during moments of stillness, these mantras amplify spiritual activation practices. Add some deep breaths, a candle, and you've got a daily portal into your higher self. Now here's something most people miss. When 33 shows up in your life, on clocks, receipts, license plates, it's not coincidence. It's communication. A wink from a universe reminding you that you're aligned, or at least being invited to align. Masonry teachings even suggest paying attention to such synchronicities, as they often guide one's next move in the spiritual chessboard. If you're just starting, try this. Wake up at 5:33 a.m. for the next 7 days. Sit in silence for 10 minutes, and simply visualize the number 33 glowing like a flame in your mind's eye. That's it. No apps, no distractions. You'll be amazed how quickly clarity comes. And once that clarity sets in, you begin to notice something deeper, how science and spirituality might not be so far apart after all. For years, science and spirituality sat on opposite sides of the table, one grounded in data, the other in mystery. But researchers like Rick Strassman began asking the kind of questions most scientists fear. What if the soul does exist? What if DMT isn't just a chemical, but a key? His work cracked open doors that had long been sealed by skepticism. And Masonry? It had hinted at these connections long before the lab coats caught up. Strassman's studies with DMT revealed something remarkable. When administered in a controlled setting, subjects didn't just trip. They encountered otherworldly beings, vast dimensions, and divine intelligences. These weren't hallucinations. They were shared, recurring experiences. The data spoke loud, but quietly echoed what spiritual activation practices have taught for centuries. The brain isn't just a machine. It's a portal. And here's the kicker. The pineal gland, long dismissed as useless, lit up like a control panel in these experiments. It responded not only to chemical triggers, but also to meditative states and altered breathing. Suddenly, yoga, fasting, and ancient rituals weren't woo-woo anymore. They were science-backed techniques. In Masonry, this kind of knowledge has always been seen as sacred, a fusion of the rational and the divine. If you're someone who needs proof before belief, Strassman's work is the perfect bridge. Read DMT, the spirit molecule, and you'll see what I mean. It's not about blind faith. It's about measured mystery. And once you start to connect the dots between data and destiny, you'll understand why the 33rd degree in Masonry isn't just symbolic. It's a profound responsibility. The 33rd degree in Masonry isn't handed out like a diploma. It's earned through inner work, spiritual discipline, and a hunger for deeper truths. It marks not just rank, but rebirth. The title symbolizes someone who's chosen to lead not by authority, but by consciousness. Those who reach this point are expected to live in service of the greater good, not ego or recognition. This isn't conspiracy. It's ancient structure. Figures like George Washington and Mozart are said to have reached this level, not for status, but for their alignment with divine principles. Their legacy wasn't built on politics or music alone. It carried the hidden wisdom of initiates. That's what the 33rd degree protects, a lineage of esoteric guardians who walk between worlds. At that level, one understands the real power of spiritual activation practices. It's no longer about self-gain. It's about stewardship, protecting sacred knowledge, guiding others silently, teaching not through lectures, but through presence. The number 33 becomes more than a symbol. It becomes a lifestyle, a way of moving through the world with both gravity and grace. And what's fascinating is how much of that ancient wisdom echoes modern discoveries about the pineal gland, DMT, and the structure of reality. It's almost like these teachings were waiting, hidden in plain sight, for us to wake up and remember. And as this awakening unfolds, the final piece becomes clear. This whole journey was always about returning to the divine. To seek the divine isn't to look up, it's to look in. The path has never been about reaching for heaven in the sky, but about awakening heaven within. Masonry, especially at its highest level, teaches this very thing. The glandular pineal isn't just a gland. It's a compass pointing to the divine source. And when that compass is clear, your life starts to align with something far greater than chance. The process of spiritual activation isn't some far-fetched fantasy. It's a commitment, a way of showing up daily for yourself. Journaling at dawn, breathing with intention, noticing synchronicities. These are your breadcrumbs on the trail back to the divine. The more you activate the third eye, the more natural it feels to flow in harmony with life. Your choices sharpen, your energy steadies, and fear loses its grip. But let's be real. Transformation isn't linear. Some days you'll feel like a cosmic Jedi, and others you'll barely want to get out of bed. That's part of it. The divine isn't asking for perfection. It's asking for presence. Each step into the unknown is a return to remembrance. And whether you find it through masonry rituals or simply through silent walks in nature, the destination is the same: unity. So here's the invitation. Keep walking. Keep questioning. Keep noticing the number 33 when it flickers into your life. It's not random. It's a reminder that you're not alone on this path, that you're being guided, and that everything, your thoughts, your breath, even your biology, is conspiring to lead you home. So now that the veil's been lifted, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you let it sit like a dusty book on the shelf of your mind, or will you use it? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Awareness without action is just another form of sleep. Your pineal gland, the number 33, the power of DMT, all of it is useless if you don't apply what you've just learned. What daily ritual will you start tomorrow? Will you finally begin that sunrise meditation? Will you stop brushing off the 33s that keep appearing on your path? Or will you keep telling yourself someday? Remember, awakening doesn't happen by accident. It's a decision, repeated over and over until it becomes your way of being. Let me ask you this. What was the most shocking part of today's video for you? What insight hit you hardest? Drop it in the comments. I want to know where you're at on your journey. This isn't just content. It's a conversation. And if you felt even a spark of truth today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. You're not here by chance. You're here because your awakening has already begun.